The cell was cold, grey, lifeless, like her. Rochelle traced a finger across the rough concrete, the only solace in the monotonous expanse. Days bled into weeks, weeks into months. Time lost all meaning. Food arrived through a slot in the wall, tasteless and meagre. Her only companions, the drip of a leaky faucet and the gnawing silence. The silence was the worst. It whispered of her isolation, her despair. But it wasn't just in her head. The words came from her own mouth, uncontrollable, relentless. Rochelle closed her eyes, willing herself to disappear, to escape this concrete tomb, to feel anything but the crushing weight of her solitude. The guards always said he had a girlfriend, but she never asked him face to face. She never heard it herself, so she wasn't going to believe it until she saw it. For the first time in 4 years, the relationship became relevant. She felt used, and he was a ghost again. She was his twin flame, though he didn't know what that was yet, and she found out he had a girlfriend all along since the day they met. A crack, a whisper, a voice. It slithered into her consciousness, hesitant at first, then insistent. A man's voice, young, laced with concern. "Can you hear me?" Amelia jolted upright, hallucination, desperation twisting in her gut. "Who's there?" she rasped, her voice a forgotten instrument. The voice softened, a gentle caress against the harsh edges of her reality. "My name is Ryan. I'm here to help." His thoughts, unbidden but not unwelcome, seeped into her mind. Pity, admiration, something more? She couldn't name it. Amelia found herself scribbling words on a notepad, her hand moving as if guided by an unseen force. The words formed a message. "Trust me," it read. She felt a strange comfort in the act. Ryan's thoughts echoed in her mind, and she saw his hand writing back, "I will guide you." The connection, once a trickle, became a torrent. Liam's thoughts, his emotions, his very essence intertwined with hers. He spoke of the world outside, of sunlight and laughter, of things she had forgotten. He was a soldier, he revealed, stationed at a nearby base, assigned to her though he didn't know why. His superiors remained tight-lipped, their motives shrouded in secrecy. In turn shared her own fragmented memories, the events leading to her imprisonment, the accusations, the trial, the conviction. But the details remained hazy, lost in a fog of confusion and fear. Section 4. The Weight of Worlds. He was her guardian, her sentinel in the skies. A seasoned soldier and a skilled pilot, he had spent years flying missions in dusted plains, navigating the world from the cockpit. He had access to a local airport hangar and used it to ensure her safety. Every day he flew over her, a silent protector, a constant presence she could rely on. Even at night, when the world was cloaked in darkness, she would look up and see not drones or spaceships, but Liam tracking her from above. He was there to keep her away from those who would treat her wrong, those who saw her as nothing more than a commodity. She had been forced into a life where choices were scarce. She wasn't a problem to be fixed. She wasn't a whore or a prostitute, despite how others treated her. She was kind, resilient, and one of the toughest people he had ever known. A secret connection that bound them even closer. Liam's vigilance wasn't just about protection, it was about recognition. Seeing her strength, her kindness, her unyielding spirit, he knew that she was worth every flight, every watchful hour. Together, they would navigate the skies of their new world, forging a path through the darkness, guided by the light of their shared purpose. But their greatest fear was that she would never have the chance to truly be with him, to live a life free from the shadows that haunted them both. The guards, the officers, even her fellow inmates, were caught in the web of her torment, unable to escape the eerie phenomenon. Desperation clawed at her as she tried to understand why these voices sought her out, why they chose her to bear their burdens. She discovered that the cell held a dark history, a place where many had left their stories unresolved. The spirits saw in her a chance to find closure, to communicate their final messages before moving on. But the weight was too much for her to bear. She knew she had to escape before these restless souls consumed her completely. Exhausted and overwhelmed, she finally succumbed to sleep. When she awoke, it was to the sight of guards escorting her to a psychiatric hospital. She spent 2 weeks there, a place meant to offer respite but filled with its own haunting silence. Every day she called out, trying to reach Liam, trying to find her way back to the only person who truly understood her plight. She knew she had to return to face the shadows that lingered in that cell, but she also knew she couldn't do it alone. The echoes of desperation still haunted her, but within them she found a flicker of hope. A hope that Liam would hear her call and guide her back to the skies, where they both belonged. Pause 3. S. Together they would confront the darkness, finding strength in their shared purpose and forging a path towards a future free from the ghosts of their past.